bundle cases. And now you will see that in this UI, I've got these 3 cases grouped together. So it makes life for the judges and the clerks or prosecutors working in court much easier. What is really good about this is that if I wanted to drag and drop these matters, I can now do them as a group. I can move these into different buckets as a group as well. So I don't need to do that one at a time. It all happens as a bundle or as a group. If I needed to unbundle these cases, it's as simple as clicking this icon on the side, which is the unbundle icon. So I'll quickly do that, and you will see that my John Smith cases have gone back to what they were. What I can then do is I'm going to bundle them again so that I can show you some more functionality. If I had bundled multiple cases and I feel, oh, I've bundled this one incorrectly, I also have the ability to remove a case from a bundle. So I can just simply click on that X, and there, that case has been removed. But the really great feature about bundling of cases is the bundle note. So now while I've got 2 cases bundled up together, I can click on the case note widget. I'm again assuming everybody knows what the case note widget is. When I select that, I can add a note. And when I save it, it's been automatically applied to both the cases. So I don't need to do them one at a time. It saves me time because I can do them together. If I navigate to each of these cases, I'll be able to see that bundle note over there. So this is how you can use the feature where you can group or bundle cases on the docket and also insert a note. What is important to note over here is that bundle cases is user specific. So if I, as a judge, am bundling these cases, it's only me as a judicial officer who's viewing the bundles on my docket. If I go back, if my clerk is looking at the screen, they will not see these cases bundled. So the judge and the clerk can manage the docket the way they want. Because in most instances, the judges might want the grouping and the clerk might not. Any questions or queries about this feature? I'm happy to take questions as we go if there's any confusion or if you had any doubts.
What if the judge and the clerk want to see the same thing?
So at the moment, the judges that we spoke to and the clerks that we spoke to from our user community, they did not want that. They wanted separate UIs. But we have lots of people from the court over here. So would there ever be scenarios where the judge and the clerk want to see the same thing? Many courts needing that functionality. Yeah, lots of notes. So that's something we will now consider and see if we can introduce the functionality where we can give an option where some courts might want a shared docket UI versus other courts might not. But previously when we spoke to users, they didn't want that. But there are lots of notes over here. It's a great question. Anything else about bundle cases? Okay.
I have a question. For the bundle cases, are you able to do 10 minutes of those?
Yes. So if I select bundle cases over here, you will see that I can start the multi-minute mode from here itself. So yes, it will select all those 3 cases and move them to multi-minutes. Okay. The next feature I want to talk about is quick notes. So when you're working on in a busy docket, like I was mentioning before, when I used to work in the court, I'll have small sticky notes or pieces of paper for different things that are happening, just as memory, just as reminders. So I'm working in a court, an attorney walks in and says, oh, I need to step out to a different courtroom, or someone is doing something else, or a judge might think that, oh, I need to go back and check some legislation about this matter, or I want to speak to another judge about this. So we introduced a functionality called quick notes. This is to eliminate writing pieces of paper while you're in a busy courtroom you can do that straight on your screen and have a quick reminder over there. So how that works is you'll see that under this actions column, I've got a little sticky note option over here. I can click on that. And I can save this. When I save it, you will notice that this particular quick note that I added is stuck on my screen in the docket. So as I'm working through my docket, this is there for me to look at. I don't need that sticky note anywhere, or I don't need to scribble on a piece of paper. It's right there and available to me as a user. Go ahead.
To piggyback on the question before about it being like a shared, that component also would be really nice to be shared between the clerk and the judge.
That is very interesting because when we spoke to the judges and the clerk said we have different notes that they need to refer to, and a judge might have their own notes.
Right.
And when you're making these quick, scribbles, you might not be using the language that you want shared, for example. So that was something that we made a conscious effort for, to make sure that they were private quick notes.
Okay.
And what's really useful about this is that I might finish my court and I go out of the docket. I've gone back to my office to do some things. When I come back to the docket, that note is going to be there for me to look at. So it was intentional, with a lot of user feedback, that they wanted these notes, these quick notes, to be private. Because when you want shared notes, you can use the case note functionality, right? You add a case note, you make it private, or you share it. These are just short reminders that are for me as a user, for me personally. See the difference? Yeah. Any other questions on quick notes? Go
Do
ahead.
the notes stay within the CMS? Like, are they attached to the case?
Yes, they are attached to the case because the case is on the docket. However, you are not really seeing them on the case record. So if I go and look at the case record, I'm not going to see this. It's going to live only in the docket stuck to that event.
Okay, thank you.
So again, as I said, every time you navigate out and you keep coming back into that particular docket date, you will see it, but you're not going to see it on a case record.
How would they remove it if they put it on the wrong one?
Sure. So what you have is the ability to click on that icon again, and you have two options from here. You either edit it or you can delete it from here. If I delete it, it's gone. Yeah. A couple of things that I would like to also note over here, along with the bundle case feature, you can add quick notes at the bundle level, so it's applied to the whole group, or you can add it for each case at a time. So I'm going to click on this. And you will see that this is just under the title row for my bundle, versus I can add another one here. And now you're seeing it for the case as well. So you have the functionality and the ability to do it at both levels. Go ahead.
Will the note follow if the cases continue to move, or does it just stick with this day?
It's just for this day, for this docket, because it's my reminder for today. When I come back on another day, it's clean, I'm starting afresh, right? But like I said, if you ever come back to this docket, you're going to be able to see it, this docket day.
So this is just basically replacing your
That's
courtroom
it.
docket that you would normally scribble.
Scribble, yeah, that's it. The pieces of paper, we want to eliminate that. We don't want you to, because the thing with that is also, that piece of paper, you're going to lose it. Versus this quick note, anytime you come back to the docket, if you've retained it, if it was valuable, it's going to be available.
And it's person, like it's user and docket based. Right?
Correct, yeah. For me as a user for that docket date. Go ahead.
What's the what's the latest version to have this feature?
2025-05 is, yeah. So we've just released 2025-17. It's on one version before that, available from that. Any other questions on quick notes? Go ahead.
On the e-supervision side, if you have a court hearing officer inside of the court working, looking at a docket, would they have the ability to be able to add a note for themselves?
In e-supervision, sorry,
So I'm saying if you're working, if you have e-supervision, but you're on into eCourt, will the portal allow for the court hearing officers to make their own notes for themselves?
not at the moment. But we're happy to hear about it if there's a real use case that we should solve. Okay, I'll move on to the next feature, which is walk-ins or add-ons or last-minute motions that I need to add to an existing busy docket. So I've got this docket, I'm working through matters, there's someone who walks in with a last-minute motion and I need to schedule it in. What we could do previously is you would navigate out of the docket, find the case, schedule the hearing, come back to the docket and then go on. What you can now do is schedule that hearing straight from within the docket. So we've eliminated all those manual steps that you had to do to go outside the docket and come back in. So what you will notice here is under this drop down, we've got a new option, walk-ins. Now the label for this can be whatever you want it, so that's configurable. We've personally called it walk-ins, but you can change that to what you need. What you can then do is search for a case number if you already know the case number. If you don't know the case number, you know a party name, you don't need to worry about it because you have a magnifying glass which pulls in a search form and you can search however you need. Once I have the case number, you can pull in a hearing form. What's really good about this is that you can configure the hearing form to whatever data you need, and you can have different hearing forms for different case types as well. So if you're a court who's managing civil and criminal and traffic and other family matters, probate, and you have different hearing data that you need to capture for each one of them, you can have a separate hearing form that you can plug in. And based on the case number, the system is going to know for this case number, this is the case type and this is the form I need to pull in. Although I would like to caveat that by saying that you're in a busy docket. You're adding a last minute motion. So we don't want this form to be very complicated with lots of data. Keep it to a bare minimum so that you can quickly add the hearing and move on with your docket. Does that make sense? Yeah. So I'm going to just schedule a hearing in. What is really good about this is because I've opened this form from the docket, it already knows what the time is and what location I'm in. So it's auto-populated the courtroom for me or the department, as some of you may call it, and it's automatically populated the date and time, that it's this date at this time, so that I don't have to manually enter those details. Of course, these are editable, so if you need to change it, you can. I can add a judge if I need. I can select my parties, hearing parties, so that I can record their appearances. This is a criminal form, so I've got charges. What charges am I listing? And what's that done is it's gone, and it was case number 23, it's gone and added it as an add-on hearing. Now, why did it call it add-on? Because my docket over here was closed. So I don't know if you use the concept of open docket versus closed docket. When the docket is open, you have numbers. These numbers, once you close the docket, it locks in those numbers, and then it tells you that this is the latest one that you added, so it's an add-on. Again, that label add-on, you can change it to whatever you want. So that's configurable. Go ahead.
Is there a search feature for this? Like, could you run a search to know how many add-ons too for particular calendars?
I think we could configure that. We haven't tried it, but that's a good point. We might give it a go and see. Is that important to you to know how many add-ons you had?
It would be, yeah, for calendar management and
Sure.
potentially agencies.
Okay. And you're running this search or grabbing that report across different departments, across different locations, I'm guessing? Yeah, sure.
How come the icons grayed out?
Which one? The minutes. We've got some rules behind as to when that button gets enabled. So I've obviously not done some of the steps to enable that. Yeah. Any other questions about walk-ins?
Also, once it's added on, is it easily identified as being an add-on from the docket, or is it?
Correct. So,
Okay.
yeah, so it does, right? So, like I was explaining, there's a concept of an open docket versus a closed docket. My docket's closed, so it's added it as an add-on. If my docket was open, that means I'm allowing more numbers, I'm allowing changing of numbers, and then it'll just add it as the last number on the docket.
And it also did the time too, like when you added it on, it did the time, so you could sort by that as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Any other questions?
Can I just go back to the bundling really quick?
Sure.
If you have like co-defendants, could you bundle them all together?
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
So it's not limited to just like the one person?
No, so basically when you're bundling, you're selecting the cases that you want to bundle, right? So we're not doing this automatically. So you as a user are selecting, these are the 3 cases I want to bundle together. So it could be for co-accused, or it could be for the same defendant as well. Go ahead.
Does the add-on only show in the docket, or if you went to that case specifically, in events, would it reflect that it was an add-on?
Yes, of course. So if I go back, it's scheduled it as normally, as how you would normally schedule a hearing, right? The only thing is that instead of navigating to the case and scheduling it from there, you've done it quite easily from within the docket. So yes, all that data and information will be available on the case. Yeah. So just to demonstrate, that's right here on the case itself.
But will it say add-on on that same page? Like, will it tell us that it's an add-on that event page? Because I didn't see it listed.
On the case?
On that, yeah.
On the case? Well, you will have to, we can find mechanisms to configure that.
Okay.
Because in what we think is once it's scheduled, it's scheduled. Why would you need to know on the case that it was scheduled as an add-on? Is there value? If you think there's value, let us
I
know.
think there's value.
Yeah, okay. Okay. Yeah, so, yeah, we'll see if there are ways to configure that, but at the moment, yeah.
Also, your example included a motion, so when you set the hearing, are you also able to use the docket?
Yes, you can. So that form that I showed you, that's a configurable form. So you can put in whatever information, including that, if you need to. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so I'll move on to the next feature, which is the next hearing date. Now, because we all work for a court, we always are looking for when is the next hearing date, or at least answering inquiries on when is the next court date for a criminal arraignment, for example, or what is the next date for a civil preliminary hearing, as an example. So we're always responding to such inquiries, whether we are in the courtroom or outside the courtroom. As far as you've got your diaries or what we call time slots set up really well behind the scenes, this feature is great. Because what you can do is, while I'm in the docket, I can come and click on next available date. It gives me a bunch of search parameters. So I can say, these time slots are set up per courtroom, but if yours are not, that's fine as well. I can say I'm looking for an arraignment hearing Is it for a particular jurisdiction? Is it for a particular case type? Is it for a particular judge? How many days out, starting from when? And when I click search, the system automatically goes, looks at all the time slots and gives back to you, based on your criteria, what is the next available court date. What it also does is, it tells you how many slots are available versus how many are reserved versus how many have been confirmed. If you click on it, it gives you more information about what those cases are as well. So it's a really useful tool for courts, especially where you're, constantly trying to find out when is the next available court date. An attorney comes up, a litigant comes up, and you need to give that information. And what's really great about this is that you can search for this for multiple locations as well. So I don't mind having a court hearing in this location or that location. You can add multiple options. We've also got another option over here called multi-day availability. This is to give you the flexibility to search for consecutive days when you want to schedule in a matter for a trial. For example, you're trying to list a 3-day matter or you're trying to list a 5-day matter. You want to know when are 5 consecutive days available for this particular courtroom because I need to list a trial. So again, if I come here and select trial, and I'm saying 30 days out, 3-day trial. If I select search, what you're seeing over here now is group information. So it's telling me 15th of December, Monday, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. This is based on my diary or my time slot set up behind the scenes. I have 3 days available. I can expand that, and when I expand it, it's telling me 15th, 16th, 17th in this location for this judge. You could schedule in 2 matters. This is what's available, this is what's booked. And again, I can always click on it to see what is booked in that particular time slot. So it's telling me I could schedule in a 3-day trial effective Monday, 15 December, or I could even start it on the Tuesday. So coming from a court background where I did a lot of scheduling for courts, I used to be in the registry. I will be getting calls from different courtrooms. When is the 3-day trial available? When is a 5-day trial available? And I had spreadsheets, I had big paper books to find that information so that I could give it out. That was all day, every day. Versus this makes it so much easier because nobody needs to call me. I've set it up within the system. They can go in and find the next hearing date for a trial or for an arraignment.
Can you export these results?
No, not at the moment. But if you think that's useful, we're making notes today. So yeah,
Yeah, we have
lots of notes. So
officers who like it printed for that. And so
we want to eliminate paper. That's the big wish.
completely agree. But
Yeah, sure. Okay, that's something we might note that's so that would be a point in time. I've printed it today because as you schedule in matters, these results are going to constantly change, right? So to me, printing it is not giving you the right information. The right information is when you search it in that instance because it's the most up to date. You still think printing is useful then?
I do.
Yeah. Okay, so while I showed you that this next hearing date and the multi-day availability is available from the docket, it's also available from the dashboard because we know that a lot of times we have these inquiries not when we are working on the docket. You might be responding to an email or a phone call, or you might just want to know for yourself. So what we've done is we've also given you the ability to search for this next available date by adding it on your dashboard. So the same function and the same feature you can access from the docket or from here itself. Any questions on this one?
search or can you
Uh,
configure the input?
You can enable or disable them. So
Okay.
we've got a bunch of parameters that we've added as core because it's a very complicated search behind the scenes because it's looking for too many things. But if you think for my core, jurisdiction doesn't matter or it's not set per courtroom, it's set at court location level, you can disable some of those things. But what I have over here is everything that you can enable. So, yeah. And again, when you're on the dashboard, click on the settings over here on the little cog icon to enable multi-day search. So that's an option. Okay, so that was everything I wanted to show you on the docket. I'm going to move on to minutes now. So I'm moving to dashboard 2. I've got a whole bunch of civil matters scheduled for a hearing in this courtroom today. And like I said, it was insightful to me because as I've been speaking to people yesterday, not everybody knew that we have the functionality to do multi-minutes. Multi-minutes is where if the judge decides that the exact same orders or minutes need to be recorded for more than one case, I don't need to do them one case at a time. I can select multiple cases, add those minutes, just one single data entry and commit them all together. And those orders or minutes will be available on each of those selected cases. So it's reducing the need to record orders or add minutes one case at a time. That is the benefit of it. We've had this forever. What we've enhanced though is when we had it previously, you could only record text-based orders. You couldn't do insert forms, you couldn't do complicated things, versus now you'll have the ability to do that. So I'm just gonna find a couple of cases. So let's say I've selected these two cases. I can start multi-mode over here. It's telling me I'm about to start multi-mode. So now you will see I've got two cases. I'm dealing with case number 20 and case number 21 both. Like I said, we always had the ability to do text-based orders. So I could put in whatever orders I want over here. I could use any other minute code which was text-based as well. But what I couldn't use was forms. What I'm going to now do is, let's say I just want to adjourn these matters to a future hearing date. And I want to adjourn all of these to the same hearing date. So now what I've got is a scheduled hearing form that is going to be applied to both these cases that I've selected. So if I had failed to appear, as we were talking about yesterday, and I want to adjourn all these 5-10 matters to the same date in future, I don't need to do that one at a time. I can select those 10 cases, come to the minutes module, select multi-minute mode, complete this data entry, and the hearing will be scheduled on each of them. So let's just do one. So let's say I'm scheduling a motion hearing for the 26th of November for this judge. So it's going to add this hearing on the 26th of November at 9:30 and it's going to do it for both these cases. I'm going to select commit. So this is general minutes functionality. And what you'll notice is both case 20 and 21 now have a document generated, and if I go to my cases now, the hearing on 13th of November, this is just the configuration for here, has my orders recorded or my minutes displayed over here, and what it's done is it's displaying my hearing for the 26th of November. So this was the first case. If I now navigate to the second case, this was the hearing on 13th of November, which is today. It's got those orders that I made, and it's got the hearing of 26th of November that I scheduled. So I didn't need to do it twice. I did it in one go.
Is there any way to, I guess you could say complete later, so to speak, without committing it? Now, what if there's something, for the most part, they both have the same orders, but one of the cases happens to have something that needs to be inserted. There's no way to really stop it from committing. You know what I'm trying to say?
A little bit. Let me show you. So
Yes,
what
so
you're
what
trying
is
to
it?
say is you've got multiple matters and one, while most of it have the same orders, there's one that needs to have follow a different path.
And it will not necessarily different path. It has everything that the other ones have, but maybe there's one thing that you need to insert.
Okay. There's a way around it.
Okay.
So let me show you what you could do that. Yeah. Any other questions on that multi-minute? I'll come back to the complete later and how you could probably split a case. Any other questions on multi-minute? Go ahead.
So if you bundle it once and then later on you also have to apply another notice, does the system remember your first bundle? So you don't have to set up the case again.
No, so we've gone back to a bundling question.
Just for this one, I noticed that you set up multiple cases.
Yes,
right?
yes.
So I'm just asking that later on, if you need to come back to that same group,
Yeah.
do you have to select those cases again, or it's smart enough to
Are you
remember?
coming back to that same group? This is for minute entry, right?
Yeah.
Minute entry is when I'm recording orders. So once I've recorded the orders, I'm never going to go back and look at that group again.
I see.
They are both scheduled for a future hearing. In the future docket, if I want to add the same orders again, I'll have to select them. Because we never know whether the judge is going to make the same orders or different orders on these set of cases at a future date. So you cannot pre-select. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Are we able to amend those two kind of orders at the same time? If there was-
Not yet. At this minute, we've just provided the ability to insert, but amending is something that you will have to do separate. Because there could be instances where you want to amend orders on one case but not the other. So yeah, we've not done the grouping for amendment
I'd
just
love
yet.
to see the feature. We'd love to see the feature.
Okay.
And is it safe to say that you showed us a scheduling of the hearing, that all automations that have been minute codes, all minute codes?
So there's just a slight difference. At the moment, you can use this functionality for text-based orders and any orders that have insert of data. However, sometimes we've seen clients using update forms. So you're updating certain information. That you have to do one case at a time because the data on each of the cases could be different. So when you're saying, I want to update charge 3 on case 1 and charge 3 on case 2 are not going to be one and the same, not necessarily. So update codes, if you're using minutes that need to be updating information, they should be done separately. But if you're just inserting information, then that can be done using the multi-minute functionality. Okay, going back to your question and the next feature that I wanted to demonstrate, I'm going to select two cases again, and I'm going to start multi-mode. Oh, I selected more. I selected 3 cases. What happens over here is that previously, when you use multi-minutes for text-based orders, you could select complete later, but you always had to resume them one at a time. So you could never finish them as a group. So that caused issues because what's the point of multi-minutes? I started it, now I have to go back and do it one at a time. So we got complaints about that, and we understood. So let's say if I've got 3 cases selected here, I've started doing some order entry, I've added a bunch of minute codes, and now I select complete later. You will see something new over here. What we're doing is we're asking you, are we grouping this now? Like, are these 3 cases going to be dealt with together? By default, it's using my user credentials and the date and time as a minute group code. But as a clerk or a judicial officer entering minutes, if you wanted to change this, you could. And I'll tell you why this is useful. I'm going to just select OK for now. What's happened now is where you generally see the Start Multi-Mode button, you're going to see a new button over here called Resume Multi-Minutes. I don't know if you can see it at the bottom of my docket on the left-hand corner. I can click on that, and when I click on that, it's given me a pop-up modal saying on 13th of November, using my credentials at this time in this courtroom, I've created a minute group. And I can have as many minute groups within the same docket. When I click on it and expand it, it's telling me these are the 3 cases for which you started your minutes. Do you want to resume them? Do you want to finish them? I'm not doing them one at a time. I'm doing this for the group now that I had started together. Going back to your question, I did 9 of them. I selected complete later. I can come back and say, you know what, this case number 22, I want to record one more thing, which I don't want to record for the first 2. You could come here and you could remove this case from this minute group. So you've removed it from the minute group so that you can resume that case by itself, add your extra minute code and commit it. Does that make sense? So I said there's a workaround, right? So let's say I've removed it. When I've removed it now, I've got only the 2 cases here. I can come here and I can select resume. If you remember, that's all I had typed. I'd only typed order. But if I had a bunch of minute codes, they would all be displayed, and from here I could still select complete later again, or I could say, yep, I'm done, I'm ready, I can commit it.
So the one that you just removed still has that.
It will still have just the order, right? And then, but now you'll only, like where you're seeing 2 cases, you're only going to see the 1 case over there, that case. Another really important thing that we felt was with resume, complete later and resume is, what if I've selected complete later on so many minute groups on different docket dates in different courtrooms or departments and forgotten all about it? That's a risk. Should not happen in courtrooms, but it's a risk. So what we've done is, we've given you the ability to add resume multi-minutes as an option to your left-hand navigation. Because what you can do from here is you can say, okay, I'm looking for all minutes that Jalpa may have done in this particular courtroom, and I can say from whatever dates. So you'll see that I had one on 12, which was yesterday, and one today. So as a supervisor, you might want to see minutes across different users, across different locations, between date groups, and it's just for making sure everything is fine, nothing has been missed out. Because the minute you introduce complete later, there's that risk that someone forgot to resume. So you've got the ability for someone else to do these checks if it is required for your court. Any questions with this one? Go ahead.
Sorry, not with this one. With the splitting of the group, so we removed the 1 case because we have to do other actions. Is that the time that we can then use the update codes?
Yes, because now you've split it, you've only got that one particular case. Now you can go ahead and use your update minute codes. That'll work completely fine. Okay, I'm going to now move on to the next feature, which is non-calendared hearings. So I'm assuming most of your courtrooms have non-calendared proceedings or administrative hearings that you deal with, in-chamber hearings. Yes? No? Some nods? Basically, when you had non-calendared proceedings before, you could only do them for 1 case at a time. what you have here is the ability to do non-calendared proceedings for multiple cases. So I want to record orders or record minutes in chambers for 5 John Smith cases, and they are the same orders that I need to apply. So it's really simple. I can search for those 5 cases. I'm gonna select some cases from here. Select another case number as well. So you're seeing I'm no longer on the docket screen. So I'm not in a courtroom space, I'm not in the docket. I've got multiple cases over here. I've got a quick short form as to where am I doing this. So I can say, okay, I'm in a particular location, I'm not really in a courtroom. I can select what kind of hearing anything. You could call it anything, any hearing type or event type that you want to give it. It's automatically defaulted to today's date and time. I can assign a judge. I can say who I am. And then I can start non-calendared minutes from outside the docket for multiple cases. Does that kind of resonate? Do you do this in chambers rather than in a courtroom? What you could also do is, I might be on a particular case, so I am on case number 30, and I want to start non-calendared proceedings for this case. So you can access this screen from your left-hand navigation or from within the case itself. If you access it from within the case, it's going to default to your case number. It's got the date and time. You can put in your location, you can put in your type, and you can start the minutes. So you don't need to, a lot of courts for in-chambers or non-calendared proceedings create fake hearings that go to a docket so that you can commence the minutes. You don't need to do any of that. You can commence the minutes straight from within your case, in chambers. You don't need to go to a docket. And from here, if I had multiple cases that I wanted to add, you could do that from here as well.
How do you get to that part?
Sorry?
How do you get to that screen?
So we've got a URL that you can add to the navigation, and that can be added to the navigation for the folders within your case, or you could add it to the left-hand navigation as well. Any questions about non-calendar proceedings? Okay. So just a quick recap of everything we've walked through. I've shown you how we can bundle cases and how you can add bundle notes for these cases as well, so that they automatically apply to each of the cases easily. I've demonstrated to you quick notes, so you can eliminate sticky notes or post-it notes around your desk when you're working in a busy courtroom. I've also shown you how you can better manage walk-ins or last-minute motions that you might need to add to a busy docket. I've shown you how you can search for the next hearing date from within the docket or over the dashboard for one location, multiple locations, or also multiple days. What I've also demonstrated to you is how you can use multi-minute mode and how you can use insert forms on them, and how you can save and resume multi-minutes as well. And lastly, we also went through non-calendared proceedings and how you could use that from within a case or your left-hand navigation, and the fact that you can use them for multiple cases. So next steps. How do you get all these lovely features? What you need to do is refer to the release notes. If you were at the plenary, Stephen and Danny showed you how you can access those release notes, so you know exactly which build each of these features are in. You'll need to upgrade your environment, and you'll need to enable the features. And again, you also heard about our documentation site, which will give you all the information on how you can enable these features. Any questions? Go ahead.
On the non-calendar cases, is there like a search or anything for like clerks to find which cases are ready for their administrative review? Because we don't do it the same day, we'll like schedule it out.
Yeah.
And so having to find those cases currently, we add an event on the case.
Okay, so for us the use case was I'm dealing with it now. I've got these non-calendar proceedings that I'm dealing with now. We were never scheduling it for a future date. So that's something we might think about and introduce. Do many courts find that useful? Do you schedule non-calendar proceedings for future dates rather than dealing with it now? Yeah? Okay, so that's something we might look at. Great question. Anything else? Go ahead.
When you group cases together, is there any, can you use that feature in any other ways? In the sense that if I wanted to create an update screen that would group from that document, could I use that somehow?
Sorry, I'm begging.
So you're grouping cases together in the document. But what I really want is I want to affect all three of these cases simultaneously, not using multiple. I want to use an update screen.
Yeah.
Is there a way that I can use or get to that collection of cases so that I can make use of it in the moment?
Well, have you seen our join up functionality?
Yeah.
So you can join those cases so they are grouped.